right, third and final portion of the axial skeleton is the thoracic cage. The thoracic cage consists of the sternum or breastbone, cartilage called costal cartilage that connects the ribs to the sternum, and then on the posterior side, the 12 thoracic vertebrae. So let's take a look at that. You can also see it up here on the skeleton behind me. So you have your sternum, that breastbone connecting on the anterior side. You have your costal cartilage and your common cartilages that are all connecting the majority, not all, but the majority of those ribs to the sternum. And then we will flip to the posterior side. Here are our 12 thoracic vertebrae. And then you can see all of the ribs, so all 24 ribs are connecting to the thoracic vertebra on the posterior side. And we are just going to walk our way through each of those pieces of anatomy. So as mentioned before, our thoracic cage protects our internal organs, our heart and our lungs especially, within our thoracic cage. It also connects and provides attachment points for our muscles so that we are able to breathe. So super important for respiratory system, but also for creating parts of our chest muscle attachments as well as neck and pectoral girdle, so our shoulder as well. So in terms of our ribs, what you need to know about ribs, there are 12 pairs. Ribs come in a variety of sizes. So I've chosen what most likely is probably our 11th, or no, 9 or 10th pair of ribs. And there are two main categories. There are true ribs and false ribs. And so these divisions are noted on your bones list. So it's important that you recognize the difference. So the first 7 ribs are called true ribs, sometimes referred to as vertebrosternal ribs. And that is because they connect from the sternum all the way to the vertebra. And they do that directly through what's called costal cartilages. So that is the first 14 ribs. So the first 7 on either side. Remember, they come in pairs. The next set of ribs are grouped together and called false ribs. And they're false because they don't directly connect themselves to the sternum. They either connect to the sternum through a piece of common cartilage. That would be the vertebrochondral. That's pairs 8, 9, and 10. Or they are just the vertebral ribs or floating ribs. And that's pairs 11 and 12 because they do not connect to the sternum at all. Let me just jump back here. Okay. So looking at this front view of our ribs and our sternum, here is pairs 1 all the way through 7. And what you can see is they have a piece of cartilage that is going directly from the rib to the sternum. And that's what makes them vertebrosternal. They connect all the way from the thoracic vertebra to the sternum itself via that piece of costal cartilage. So those true ribs or vertebrosternal ribs are pairs 1 through 7. Then if you look, you have 8, 9, and 10, and you'll notice they also have cartilage, but all 3 of their pieces of cartilage merge into a common piece of cartilage that then connects into rib pair 7's cartilage that connects to the sternum. So we refer to 8, 9, and 10, pairs 8, 9, and 10, as vertebrochondral. Chondral meaning cartilage. All right, so vertebrochondral, they connect from the vertebra to a piece of cartilage that then connects to the costal cartilage and the sternum. And then lastly, can't see too well on the front side, so I'm going to flip to the back view, posterior view. Pairs 11 and 12 are called floating or vertebral ribs because they only connect to T11 and T12. They only articulate with the thoracic vertebra. They are actually too small to wrap their way all the way around and connect either directly or indirectly with the sternum. So that is all you need to know about the ribs, what group they fall into, and how they connect or don't to the sternum. I am just going to fly right by here. Again, this is a view of, you are taking a peek at a rib. You'll certainly be able to look at them in class and take a peek at them online, but you do not need to know any markings on the ribs. Next, we have the sternum or the breastbone, and that is this bone right here. It is actually 3 bones that have fused. So there are 3 segments to the sternum. This superior portion is called the manubrium. The main portion is called the body, and this pointy portion at the bottom is called the xiphoid process. Okay. There are a few markings that we do want you to know on, let's get back here, on the sternum. So I just want us to see one. Okay. So at the top, you have what is referred to as the jugular notch. So you have this little dip here. You can actually feel it on your own. If you find your sternum and push your way up, you can drop your index finger into that jugular notch. Not too hard, but you can. On either side, you have the two clavicular notches, which is where your clavicles are going to articulate with the superior portion of your sternum. Then you have the segment that is called the body, and then located at the bottom, again, is that xiphoid process. Lots of muscular attachments are going to happen at that xiphoid process. This is actually something that when you're taking a CPR class, your teachers are going to orient you to look for and notate to make sure you are in the correct location, to use it as a landmark as well. Let me double check your list. That is it for the thoracic cage.